I guess I've always felt that culture and music, and contemporary art and design and architecture and craft and fashion and all of these things are really connected, and they seem to me to inherently go together. And so I think we wanted to create some kind of a platform that would facilitate exploring all of those things. One of our heroes, furniture-wise, Garrett Reitvelt, said, "I want to sit in a chair that my mind wants to sit in, not that my body wants to sit in." And I think that's really been a big part of how we think about the furniture. You're not going to watch the Super Bowl sitting on that, and so it's really not. It's not necessarily functional. We were making early chairs, and they were just turning out just weird. They just weren't working. Like they. Yeah, because they were huge. For some reason, we had this issue with scale where we would sketch it, and then all of a sudden when we made it, it would be like a chair that, a giant could sit in. I think, though, that Mike and I met through music, and I think we were both kind of from the punk rock scene that was kind of DIY in the early 90s. And I would compare some of the early furniture stuff and the material choices to the way that when I was 24, I had a Kinko's Xeroxed fanzine called Slam Dunk Idiot, that was just made up interviews with people who I had never met. But I think the blog, which I started 6 years ago, has been a kind of compass for us, and I think it's strangely propelling. I think that when you send a signal out into the world, it has to go somewhere. In my mind, things get lost, destroyed, and all the time. And so, all the time I'm looking at something and going, "Oh, I thought this was really different." And I encounter something in a museum, and I'm baffled that I misremembered it, or I tell somebody a story about an Alan Capro happening, and then I read the book later, and I'm like, "Wow, I was not accurate at all." I totally misremembered this piece. Yvonne Rainer was a choreographer, and I'm never going to be able to quote it, or I'll get it wrong. Yeah. She wrote I don't know if it was really an essay. It was like a weird stream of consciousness thing, but she talked about being limited to the things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we read, the things that we learn, the things that we talk about. And that it was only when something broke that something new actually happened. And that otherwise you were just kind of doing what you did. And so I think that following those mistakes, that those are kind of sacred for us. And I think it, even when it's like initially a bummer, something comes from it, and I feel like it's taking us somewhere. I think one of the things that Mike and I, in our musical backgrounds, we really learned was that, like, the bad recording, the mistakes, like those are always the best ones. It's never when you get it right, Something that happens by chance is almost always more interesting than what I can think up.